Hi there, the topic of this 10-minute moan isn't really a moan, it's kind of good news that the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, are on the verge of banning trans from sports. And I know it's going to get hectic from here on in, but that's kind of where we're going. And this isn't a new thing, right? This has been going on for years. There was Laura Hubbard. She was a Kiwi, he was a Kiwi weightlifter that went into the Tokyo Olympics 2021 as a trans woman. And after competing as a bloke for decades, just turned up in Tokyo and shoved some weights, right? And didn't even get a medal, thank God. But was there, even up the barbells that women around her trained their whole lives to lift with the cheat code of male puberty. And then obviously we've got a man, Khalifi, is that a Khalif? Can't remember how to say his name, and Lin Yingting, that was the boxers, Paris 2024. Now these boxers, they're the ones that seem to have sparked this whole XY chromosome in the ring thing. And Khalifi won the gold amid whispers that he'd failed a gender test before. But IOC just shrugged like it was a dodgy kebab and went, fair play, right? My arse, fair play, right? So that's kind of the one that's probably got us to where we are just now. So fast forward to now, November 2025, and the IOC committee under the shiny new leadership of President Kirsty Coventry is a proper gander at the science. And would you know, it turns out being born male does give you a big advantage, right, after all this. So what they've found out is, imagine that bigger lungs, denser bones, and more muscle mass gives you a bit of an advantage, right? It's like giving Usain Bolt a head start in 100 metres just to tell you it's for diversity, right? So that's kind of where we are. And then, look, boom, that's it. Trans women are getting popped out the female categories across the board. An announcement's going to come early next year, but the writing is on the wall because of this new disclosures by their new president. So that's where we're up to. And before the Twitter mob, right, pile on with the trans rights or human rights nonsense that you're always going to get, just let's put emotions to the side for a minute. We'll just stick to facts, right? It's not about hating anybody. It's about protecting the one group that's been hit, and that's women's athletes. Now, for decades, Title IX in the US and similar pushed here and fought for an equal footing. Equal funding, equal access. And now we're meant to nod along while blokes who are transitioned late swap categories and take all the medals. And swimming, cycling, even rugby. Sports where milliseconds or kilograms matter. And it's no empowering, it's enraging, okay, it's cheating. So let's take the US for starters. Back in February, Trump, like him or loathe him, he's consistent. And he signed an executive order 14201 keeping men out of women's sports. Blunt, aye, but it worked. But July, the US Olympic and Paralympic committees flipped their policy faster than a gymnast in a band landing, right? They now have no more trans women and women's events in any Team USA sports. Common sense. They told their federations, their swimming, their athletics, the lot, comply or else. And boof, gone. Even USA fencing jumped in, limiting women's categories to those of the female sex at birth. Because, surprise, swords don't care about feelings, right? Now here's the kicker. The science has been screaming this for ages. A 2021 review in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, ours, found trans women have got a 9 to 12% edge in running alone. Think about that. This is even after a year of testosterone suppression. So obviously, I would imagine the testosterone suppression would work a wee bit. So it must have been more than a 9 to 12% advantage in running. But a year later, you've still got about a 10% advantage. Now, running, sprinting is about a 10 second race, right? So it's giving you a second advantage. That's probably, well, it'd be a metre, right? More than a metre? Aye, more than a metre. And a 100 metre sprint. That's bonkers, isn't it? That's no marginal. It's the difference between a gold and a participation medal. You know, these things that we give out to everybody now. You get one of them. Well, you can go for that guy being the guy that gets a trophy for turning up to being the gold medal, you know, it's at a local, regional levels, probably even national levels, if I'm perfectly honest with you. It's bonkers. Now, the World Athletics and World Swimming already banned them in 2023, but the IOC, well, they dithered with their 2021 framework. Now, what that meant each sport was to decide for itself, which was a code for, let's not bother about it, let somebody else take the blame, right? So that's kind of what they done. And the hypocrisy. Remember when they booted Russia for doping, but let this slide? Think about it, this is what the swimmer, what's her name again, Sharon Davies, has been saying for years. She competed unfairly and done reasonably well against Eastern Europeans who were cheating because they were taking drugs to enhance their performance. Now the IOC, who battered that, you're not allowed to do that, were allowing other people to cheat with the exact same results, where people, because of the genetics, were not playing off a level playing field. And that is what, you know, the reality of it was. And I remember Sharon Davies talking about that, and that's what kind of got my immediate decision made on it, that she's right, it's 100%. Cheating's cheating. Just because you don't want to hurt somebody's feelings, it's still cheating. So where did we get to? And you know, you know what to do? Why not have a male, female in open category, right? But obviously the sponsorships, depending on the sport, will still be predominantly male or predominantly female, and but that's open category for anybody, right? If you want to, I don't know, present as a woman and race against other people present as women, do that, or just compete as a male. But none of them do that. How many world athletes are transitioned the other way? Women, born biological women, want to compete in men's sports. Doesn't happen. So where did we get to? Right, where are we? Right, now for Scotland, because let's not forget, we do churn out hardy athletes, decent athletes. And we've got world-class women in boxing, cycling, you name it. Now imagine a trans fighter smashing one of your fighters in the ring. It's not just unfair, it's unsafe. Okay, there's so many sports, particularly contact sports, where it's just not safe. And for what? So we can virtue score? We'll put people's safety at risk? That's a big issue. But the biggest thing for me is, people say, oh, well, look at that athlete, went to the Olympics, didn't win a medal. Well, that's true. The vast majority of people that go to these Olympic Games and Commonwealth Games and whatever, all over the world, don't win medals. That's the majority. And for those people in the majority, it's the taking part, it's the experience, it's, you know, being on a world platform that is actually their goal. But for every man that goes into a women's category, that's a woman that's not getting to even go to the games in the first place. And to me, that's equally, that's not more of a point when people say, well, not many of them win Olympic gold medals. Yeah. But for everyone that even turns up, that's a woman not getting to turn up at the Olympics. And the way the Olympics are every 4 years, when you peak, you know, 26, 27, 28, depending on your sport, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to get there at your peak. You know, 4 years before it, when you're 23, ain't going to happen, and when you're 31, you're too old, right? So there's a one key moment in every athlete's life, their ultimate Olympics. And some of them don't even get to go there, just for the experience, because there's a geezer that's slightly better at boxing. Think about it. It's bonkers. Again, you know, and it's the timing of this. We're here the day after Remembrance Sunday, thinking, and you know, I've done a video on it, the guy that's 100 saying, you know, was it worth it? Was the sacrifices worth it when you look at the world today? Can you imagine all those people that we stood remembering, particularly the ones in the First World War, right? That's over 100 years ago now. If they came back to this world today and looked and went, that's a geezer in the boxing, punching women. That's not the world they expected when they gave up their lives in trenches. It's just bonkers, isn't it? The way the world's just came to this mad thing. So anyway, the good news, momentum's building. This Coventry woman at the helm, a swimmer herself, by the way, so, you know, knows more than he's just a most of these virtue signals that end up in these jobs. The IOC's waking up. Trump's ripping them up globally. The NCAA, the college athletics, they're locking it down. But we can't snooze, we can't stop. We need to make sure that our women are supported. People like Sharon Davis, people that are as famous as Sharon Davis that have been fighting this for decades, they still need some support. So let's back the science and tell the hand-wringers in sport we're no surrendering, to use Mr. Churchill's famous words. So if you want others to see this video, click the thumbs up, put your comments below, hit the share because that will help the algorithm put it into other people. And if you've not already done so, the algorithm has changed recently, and YouTube now put my video into more people subscribe but less non-subscribers. So if you're fortunate enough to be a non-subscriber and you quite like the video, even to try and keep them coming into your timeline, hit subscribe. And if you're not, even if you are subscribed, double check, because you know Kevin Duranta, my pal that comes on a couple of lives, he's been unsubscribed twice in the last 2 months for the channel, and that's a guy that watches all my videos. Well, I kind of hope he does. But he sent me a screenshot just yesterday to say he'd been unsubscribed. So please double check that as well, guys. So thanks very much for all that. But most important thing of all, unless you're the type of geezer that wants to take women's medals off them and prevent women from competing in the very highest level at some tremendous events around the world, then not you, but everyone else, have a great day. Cheery bye now. Behind me is Glasgow Sheriff Court, one of Europe's busiest courts. And because of that fact, we'll see every week several members of the public and podcasters, etc., facing trials in here for a number of things. However, an increasing number are for posts on social media, videos on YouTube, etc., etc., etc. And for that reason and that reason alone, I believe it would make sense for everybody who does podcasts as a minimum to join the Free Speech Union, because they will help protect you when the law turns on you. That doesn't give you carte blanche to say what you want as a member, but it does give you the protection to help you when the law goes wrong. This is not now only something that should be considered by podcasters, because we are seeing more and more people each day arrested. Normal people who don't even see themselves as civilian journalists, arrested for posts on social media. So it makes sense to join the Free Speech Union, because we live in this country in 2025.